We are live.
We are live.
All right. Norris November.
Yes,
Also,
it is.
No Shave November, which I broke that already.
Well, it kind of fits for Norris November. You know, sometimes he has the beard, sometimes he has the stash, sometimes he has the goatee, and sometimes he's clean shaved.
Yeah. He's got just about every look
Yep.
in the book. Let's see. Make sure I turn this down because I don't normally do that. And you didn't even pop up yet. Well, nope. Still not popping up. Wait a minute. Maybe that's it. Yep. There we are.
Oh,
yeah, there's one of us.
Norris November. It could be a new thing that takes off.
After all the tediousness of horror in October, you get Norris November where you get to kick some ass for a while.
Should make a new tradition. We watch a Chuck Norris movie on Thanksgiving Eve every November.
And then Blood Rage for Thanksgiving, right?
Yeah. Silent Rage on Thanksgiving Eve, and then Blood Rage on
Blood Rage for that would rule actually. It's curious though because there you are. You finally came up.
Hey.
Curious though because I think the 10 that we picked were smart on our part.
I think so too.
And I don't think I took down the did I?
Hey Dan.
Hey Mr. Dan. How you doing, buddy?
Yeah.
Nope. I still got the missing in action ones up here. And I got missing action 2 and 3. And of course missing in action.
Yep.
And the Delta Force 2, and Code of Silence.
Ironically, the missing in action movies were missing in action this time around.
Oh, you didn't have them? You couldn't find them?
No, I'm saying we didn't do them.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I think we picked a good number of films.
Yep.
And we decided to do ones that didn't have any kind of sequel or a prequel or
yeah, it was a good variety too.
Yeah. It pretty much covers everything from horror to action to.
We got 70s, 80s, 90s. We have martial arts, action, slasher. We have like everything covered here in this list.
Even some sci-fi.
Yep.
Now that I'm looking at it.
Yeah, we got supernatural horror, we got slasher horror, we got good stuff. Yeah, it was definitely a fun list.
Yeah, I told Mr. Dan about this. I just didn't follow up. Down for some Norris November.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had fun with the movies that we watched. I'm ready to watch 10 more. We're going to be reviewing or ranking 10 of them tonight.
Yeah.
And that's just the tip of the iceberg.
Yep.
And, theoretically, we both have that same pack that has the President's Man and the President's Man 2. And trying to think of the other ones that are on there. We should probably watch them because I've never seen them.
I don't think I have either.
I have Forest Warrior on Blu-ray, and it's still sealed. And he was in another movie called The Bells of Tribulation, I think. And it's supposed to be a horror movie. Like I said, the only one I don't have besides that one is The Cutter.
I mean, we could have did 20 if we wanted to. I mean, we could have done Sidekicks and Top Dog and
Actually, I'm kind of wondering if I still have Sidekicks. I think I have the DVD somewhere, but I couldn't find it when I was downstairs
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean anything. It could be in several different bags. But yeah, I think we have some really good choices and selections. Yeah. And I think our lists are going to be different this time.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, most of our lists have been, within one or two. But I think this one's going to be a little bit different, I think. I have a little bit of a different history than you do with Chuck.
Well, nostalgia always plays a role.
It does. Yeah, it does. And I will say, out of the movies that we did watch, I only saw 3 of them in the theaters. Only 3? Huh. Yeah, I guess that makes sense because we didn't include the missing in action films.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we'll probably get started around 8:15. Yep. And yeah,
it won't take too long. Really, it's only 10. So,
what was the last Chuck movie you watched before we watched the ones that we watched?
I had watched. I did a Force of One because I did it for the 12 Days of Christmas this year.
Yes, you did. Yes,
so I watched that one twice within like 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's such a good movie, though.
It's awesome.
I'm trying to think of the one I watched. I know what it is. An Eye for an Eye, because I finally found it on. I had it on VHS, and actually it's still sealed. And I picked up the DVD, and I remember telling you that the transfer is terrible for a MGM. It's not a very good transfer.
In fact, before that, I think it was a Force of One too, because remember, like a couple months ago, I watched the Force of One and just felt like watching it. So I think I watched the Force of One like 2 months back, and then I hadn't really watched a Chuck movie until 12 Days of Christmas. So I did a Force of One again, and then I just watched it with you again. So
see, before An Eye for an Eye.
Before that was probably Silent Rage for me.
Yeah, it was either Silent Rage or Forced Vengeance, because I remember I watched that on TV, but I don't think I watched the whole thing.
Yeah.
And we got Eric, too, doing a stream.
A lot of streaming tonight.
Yeah, it's a Saturday night. That's what everybody likes to do. I wasn't sure whether, kind of a last-minute decision, since neither one of us had been feeling all that great.
Yeah, but with it being Norris November, like I said, I kind of felt like we needed to get it in.
I think that's the last one I watched. Warlock 2, which was really fun.
Yeah, I love it.
Finally getting through my Vestron collection.
Did you do 3 yet?
I've seen it before, but I haven't done that one yet. Yeah. Hey, Sean. What's up, buddy?
Hey, Sean.
But yeah, I haven't gotten through the 3rd one yet. I always liked the 3rd one, and oddly enough, when I was at a thrift store a little bit ago, I actually found that one individually.
Really?
At the thrift store that I don't go to. And I had it in my hand. I was like, I don't really need this because I got the Vestron set. But, you know, how often do you find something like this?
Exactly.
I put it back, though.
Look at
Shouldn't
that.
have. Shouldn't have, but I did. Yeah, that's next for me. I got a weird thing that I have to watch the movies before they go in my collection because I've had so many of them that have been either bad or skipped or whatever. So that's kind of like a thing with me. And I watched the first Wishmaster movie, and I did a review for Body Bags. I just have to watch the rest of them, which I've seen them a whole bunch of times. As a matter of fact, I think I sent my individual copies to Brad, I think. Because I don't think he had 3 or 4.
Really?
Remember? Yeah. And I might still have 1 and 2 because I had 1 and 2 on a double pack for the DVD.
Yep, I have that same pack.
The Arista.
Artisan.
Artisan. Arista. Yeah. Yeah. I remember I got that at the bargain basement price for at Hollywood Video.
Really?
Yeah, it was used on the bottom shelf. And I'd seen the first one. I'd never seen the second one at that time. It was a long time ago. And they had this this it was like this group of shelves in the middle of the store that had all previously viewed and brand new stuff that you could buy.
Mm-hmm.
And a bottom shelf. I mean, if I didn't get down there and look, I would never have found it. And I ended up buying it, and it's pretty cool.
I like the second one a lot.
Yeah. 3 and I have a soft spot for 3 and 4.
Yeah, I like 3.
Yeah, I like them both. Granted, you have a different guy playing the Jinn in the 4th one, but I still like the story. That's another one for Positive Spin that gets a lot of hate.
Yeah, actually, that's a good one. Part
3 of Warlock gets a lot of hate because they changed. They changed it to. What the hell was his name?
They went from Julian Sands to fucking guy in the 3rd one. Yeah.
Writing so damn small. I'm getting old, man. What the hell was his name? Bruce Payne. That's it, right?
Yeah, the guy in Warlock 3.
Yeah, Bruce Payne. Going blind, dude.
Yeah, that's the one with Ashley Lawrence too, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's a pretty good one, though. I mean, I expected it to be garbage because everyone said it was crappy. And I watched it and I was like, wait a minute. What's wrong with this one? I don't get it.
Exactly.
I mean, I will say, I do think that Bruce Payne had a little bit more charisma than Julian Sands because he tends to be a little, I don't want to say wooden because I think he's a good actor, but he's like very reserved.
And that's just how he is. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He doesn't interact a whole lot with the character.
Yeah.
It's always like he's making statements at someone or something like that.
Yeah.
But I thought Bruce Payne actually, was a lot more charismatic. Is the lead actress. Oh yeah, definitely. I don't remember who the lead actress is for the first Wishmaster, but I'll take Barbara Crampton in anything.
Yeah, she wasn't like anybody famous. That's why.
Yeah. But yeah, we're rewatching the second one. I forgot how good it was.
Yeah.
The second Warlock. The first one I saw in the actual movie theaters.
Really?
I begged my father to take me to see it. And like everything else, he was like horror movies. So, he did take me to see it. I don't think he really particularly cared for it all that much. But, I used to go see all kinds of comedies and action movies with him. So he kind of broke that time. So when I'm watching the first one, they had the special features afterwards. And I'm like, I set it up for the TV spots because I'm like, what did I see in this movie that I had to go see it?
Yeah.
I know what it is about the Kindred, They played it all the time, the Kindred. They must have spent so much money in advertising for that movie because I used to see the commercials constantly.
Yeah.
Now for Warlock, there must have been something about it that I was like, man, I got to see this. So, but I couldn't really figure out what it was when I was watching the TV spots. But I do like it though. It's a good movie.
It's funny because it's one of those simple covers that always stood out at the video store.
Yes.
I think it's because it's like that really white box and it's just him standing there with the shadow.
Yep.
And it's just so simple, but it's definitely one I always remember like looking at when I was there.
There's a lot of nothing in the actual picture itself. Because like you said, it's just a small picture of him with the shadow and the font and the Warlock with the font.
And it's just all white. So I think that's what made it stand out. It's kind of like this bright white box.
I actually have I think I still have it. It's a Region B locked Warlock Blu-ray by itself. I don't know where the hell I put it though.
I have the body bag editions of 1 and 2 from Best Buy years ago when they released them in those plastic body bags.
Yes, they released Warlock like that.
Warlock and Warlock the Armageddon. Yep.
Wow. I have Boy Eats Girl in that one.
I also have a Dead End in that.
Yeah. Good Christmas movie.
Yep.
I finally got to mess around with it this year. Spoiler alert.
I did that, last year or the year before I did it for 12
Yeah.
days. All right. Say 15. You want to get started?
Thank you, JK. Yeah. Let's do it.
All right. So we did 10 Chuck Norris movies. We randomly selected these. Thanks, JK. Yeah, we randomly selected these. We decided to not do any movies that had sequels, like Missing in Action or Delta Force. Try to get a little bit of variety, some horror Chuck Norris, some action, some martial arts, a little bit of sci-fi.
Cheese.
Yeah, a little bit of everything in there. So, yeah, we watched them over a course of a few nights and decided to rank them for Norris November. So, what is your number 10?
Yeah, I think our lists are going to differ quite a bit. All right, number 10 for me is going to be Firewalker.
Ooh.
I really like this movie. There is not a bad movie that I think Chuck Norris did. I didn't like I told you, I didn't like Delta Force 2 when I first saw it because of Billy Drago.
Mm-hmm.
But I have warmed up to it for the most part. And this is a really fun buddy, kind of like almost like a Raiders of the Lost Ark sort of film.
Definitely.
And I like Louis Gossett Jr. And it was actually my best movie-going experience with Chuck Norris.
Huh.
But it probably has the least little bit of martial arts. And I guess drawback, him always having the cigar in his mouth, like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of cheesy. Although I do like Melody Anderson, but this is just like it had to go somewhere, so it went as number 10 for me. So
yeah, all right,
yeah, I like it though. I love the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So, what's your number 10, Joe?
My number 10 is the first movie we watched, and that was Good Guys Wear Black.
Oh, come on, man!
Yeah.
Intelligent Chuck Norris movie. What the hell, dude?
What's weird is that as we were watching the movies one after another, I was like, oh shit, I think Good Guys is going to be last. Like, I wasn't expecting it to be. Honestly, when we made the list, before we started watching the movies, I was convinced that Firewalker was going to be my number 10.
Really?
I just had a feeling Firewalker would be my last one, and based on what I had remembered about it. And then when we watched this time, I was like, damn, I'm freaking having a blast with this movie. And I'll talk about it more when I get to that one. But yeah, Good Guys was the first one we watched when we started doing these. Yep. And I just happened to like each movie more and more and more than this one. Not to say that it's not a good movie, because it is. It's an awesome movie. But like you just said, it had to go somewhere. Yeah. And I don't have the nostalgia for it like you do. This was one that I saw like later on.
Yeah.
So I had already seen a lot of my other Chuck favorites before this one. So I think that kind of does it too. But I do really like it. It's just like you said, something had to be last.
Yeah, I get it. And there's a lot of weird noises in this movie. I don't know if you picked that up, like whistles and weird stuff. Mm-hmm. As a matter of fact, when I was watching it, when you and I were watching it, Corinne kept asking what that noise was.
Really?
Yeah, it's the TV. Yeah, there's a lot of really weird noises.
That's funny.
So, and yeah, I like Top Dog a lot. I mean, that was kind of along the lines of K-9 and all that.
Yeah.
But it's hard for me not to like a Chuck Norris movie. That's just plain and simple.
And Top Dog, I mean, I didn't suggest that one because that would have been a weird one to rank amongst the rest of them. It's such a different kind of, you know what I mean? It's such a different kind of movie.
Yeah, definitely. All right.
Number 9, what do you got?
My number 9 is actually, and it's kind of funny because this is one I also saw in the theaters. And it's going to be, it's going to be Invasion USA.
Okay.
Now, this movie is so much fun. It's probably, okay, for me, this movie is what kind of solidified Chuck Norris as a bona fide action hero, because Missing in Action was on his rise to fame when he kind of started. Mm-hmm. This kind of solidified everything. Okay. And I felt that with this movie, it's just, well, I'm not going to say it's too much cheese because I love it. Or, I like all his movies. Yeah. But this had a lot more unrealistic stuff than a majority of his films. So, but oh man, I mean the mall, Christmas, another Christmas movie.
Yep, it's a Christmas one.
Yeah,
sure.
Blowing up people when they're outside of their houses on Christmas and trees and everything.
Love that.
It's just so mean spirited that I really have a good time with this one.
Yep.
Hey Mary, how are you?
Hey Mary.
Breaker. See, I wanted to do that one. I like Breaker a lot. Yeah. So yeah, Missing in Action. Like I said, it was a fun movie going experience as well. The theater was freaking packed, if I remember correctly, and I really had a good time with it. But yeah, it's not one I revisit because I think I told you when we were watching it, I watched this one a lot when I first got it on VHS. Well, when I first taped it, taped it.
Yeah.
And yeah, not so much anymore. So that's my number 9, and I'm sticking to it.
Okay. My number 9 is The Octagon.
All right, friendship over, Joe. That's it. It's all done.
So my number 9 and my number 8 were I was going back and forth with these two as well at first. But what pushed this one down a notch for me is, and you said it too while we were watching it, there's a period in the movie where it gets a little slow.
Yeah, it does.
And when we watched it, it's like the beginning's really good, then you get like this period in the middle that's kind of like drags.
Yeah.
And then the ending is fucking awesome.
Yes.
But to get to the ending, you got to get through that, and you do kind of like, okay, not that it's not interesting at all, but you just kind of like, all right, just get on with it, sort of thing.
Yeah, I get that. I do get that.
And almost, I think almost more having seen it, because I've seen this one a bunch of times.
Yeah.
I think you almost feel that way after having seen it. The more you see it, because you know it's coming, and you just want to get to that exciting finale, that it's like when you hit that part, you know when that part's coming, and it's like, oh, here we go. So I think that kind of does it for me too. Whereas the movie I ended up selecting for number 8 didn't have like that. That it was kind of like action packed all the way through. So that's what kind of knocked this one to number 9 instead of number 8 for me, because it was going kind of back and forth. But if it wasn't for that, I would have had this one ranked higher. But I do think the pacing issues in The Octagon are what knocks it down here. But that finale is really amazing. That third act is incredible.
Yeah, Code of Silence is awesome. Joe couldn't find his copy. I really wanted to do that one, but Hot Girl Picks for me. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, thanks a lot. Oh, we're being spam botted. Wonderful.
That's nice.
Yeah, that's
really
wonderful.
Nice.
Yeah, just get rid of them. Like you said, the end part. I remember telling you that I used to watch the last 20 minutes of An Eye for an Eye a lot.
Yeah.
This is another one I used to watch the last 20 minutes of.
Yeah.
So, it's the advantage of having VHS and or DVD.
Yeah.
Not so much anymore, because when I put one on now, I put one on to watch the entire thing. But, it's just, it is what it is. Ooh, number 8, you're not going to be happy with me at all. Yep. Joe's going to be mad at me. I'm drawing first. Well, actually, he drew first blood with The Octagon, but all right. My number 8 is going to be Hellbound. Hellbound is a super, super fun movie, but I don't think I've seen it quite enough yet, because it's like I said, this is maybe my 3rd or 4th time. And I think it's a really fun buddy cop movie. It's also a horror movie.
It is. Yeah, it's definitely a horror one.
Yeah, but I don't think I've seen it enough, and it's like
this is like the witchcraft movie of the Chuck Norris universe. It really is.
Right.
I mean, the villain reminds me so much of a witchcraft villain.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does. And I didn't really understand that. I don't understand how he can, when you're watching the film, he can. I mean, because he could have annihilated Chuck Norris, right? He chooses when to use his powers and when not to. And I think it sort of fits the script sometimes.
Yeah.
So, it is what it is.
Yeah,
but Hellbound, which I absolutely love.
It stars Lamar Jackson. I can't believe you didn't have it hard.
Every time he said his name, Lamar Jackson.
Oh, that's awesome, JK. Yeah, Paper House is awesome.
Oh, yes.
Paper House is great. Love it.
Yeah, Paper Houses is really good. I really enjoyed that. Yeah, it's a pretty deep movie too.
It is. I very surreal.
Yeah,
love it.
So yeah, Hellbound is number 8 for me.
Okay. My number 8 is An Eye for an Eye. And it's like I was just saying with the Octagon. I kind of had this one in the Octagon back and forth. And it's weird. Like, they're different, but there are some certain similarities in it. I don't know, maybe with the flow of the movie or something, but there's just something about these two that give me the same sort of vibe. Like, I don't, compared to like the others that we watched, like the others all feel like singular. Like these two kind of, I think they make the best double feature. I feel like if you watch An Eye for an Eye in the Octagon, I feel like they go together well. And
I think, and this is going to be an interesting one. I think these are the closest to borderline horror.
Yeah, they're like
than his other movies.
Yeah, they're like just getting like there's other movies that cross that line that we're going to get to later on in my range. I mean, Hellbound you just mentioned was definitely one of them that crosses the horror line. It was like An Eye for an Eye in the Octagon. It's like they were headed there, and even like their posters.
Yeah,
I mean, like the image I showed you of An Eye for an Eye. That poster art that they didn't end up using on the VHS.
So awesome.
Like it's like a horror image. That's like a horror movie poster.
Yep.
Like there is
absolutely
lots of horror elements in both of those films, The Octagon and An Eye for an Eye. I think An Eye for an Eye had a better pace for me than The Octagon. And it also had a great finale. I like that you have characters in An Eye for an Eye die that you don't think are going to die. So
yes.
It's like, oh, here we go. Like, okay, no, nothing's off limits here.
Yeah, no one's safe.
Yeah. You got the guy with the gimp shoe. I mean, that's a fun aspect of it.
The professor.
The professor, yeah. I think it's a lot of fun. You kind of hit it on the nail for me. Is that it almost feels like it's comes very close to being horror, and I feel like that's what almost. I almost wish it went a little bit further.
Me too.
And that would have pushed it even higher for me. I almost feel like it's almost not frustrating because I still really like it, but you're almost expecting it to go a little bit further than it doesn't. So you're kind of left, it could have went a little bit deeper with that. Especially with Christopher Lee as being the bad guy. Yes. The big baddie. I hope I didn't spoil it for anybody, but there are some cool kills in this one too. I mean, again, there's some, there's characters that die that you don't really expect to die. Yeah, definitely. They do sort of die horror fashion. I mean, they're getting like strangled and stuff like that. It's pretty cool. Stalked and yeah. So it really is. It's on that line. It's like that. It wants to be horror, but it doesn't quite go there. It doesn't quite make it. Yeah. In the beginning too, when when he's watching his friend burn to death. But as well. I do like it a lot. Yes, Sean, Silent Rage is one that we watched. That one will be coming up. Definitely. But yeah, An Eye for an Eye is my number 8. Yeah. Director of The Octagon also made Angel Town. I'll have to check that out. I don't think I've heard of that one. Have you heard of that one, Joe? Angel Town? So. No. I'll have to check that out if it's out there. But yeah, Eye for an Eye. What do you really got for number 7? Transfer. If you guys have the money, buy the Kino Lorber. Well, I can't say buy the Kino Lorber because I've never seen the transfer, but the transfer on this MGM DVD is garbage. No. You got to buy the VHS. That's what you want to do. Watch it like I watched it on tape. I have it on VHS, but I've never opened it. I've never opened the actual VHS. Yeah, just so you guys know, when we watch these movies, sometimes I'll watch a couple on VHS, a couple on Blu-ray, a couple on DVD, depending on what I have. Yep. But I did the same thing for this. I watched all 3 formats throughout this list, so that was one that I watched. Formats. That was one that I watched on VHS. All right, number 7. Yeah. All right. Number 7 is one I had a lot of trouble placing, and it was the very last one I ranked, which should give you a kind of an idea, but it's The Hitman. Oh. I had a great time with this because you got to see a different side of Chuck. He played like he was always a good guy, but he also kind of plays a bad guy in a way. You got mullet Chuck in this one.
Yeah, you got mullet Chuck Norris in this
He's
one.
got that kick-ass mullet.
I just got kicked off of YouTube. How about that? Again, I hate it. But anyway, you got mullet Chuck Norris, kind of a buddy cop movie in the beginning.
Mm-hmm. Almost.
Yeah, and you have some people that have been in his other films as well.
Yep.
You kind of recognize them. I think my problem with this one, and this one has a really good heart. There's a lot of heart in his movies.
Yeah, this one specifically.
It does. Yeah, it
really
does. My problem, you're not going to believe it, but my problem is actually the kid.
Oh.
Yeah. Yes, I know he's part of Barney's original backyard gang, but I mean, I don't know. I kind of wanted to slap him after a while. He was just a little too enthusiastic for me, except for when he got his tail beat.
You almost wanted that sniper to just take him out.
Yeah, I kind of did. But yeah. But this is a really fun movie, and if you guys have never seen this one, this is one. This one and Hellbound.
I really want that triple feature because it has both of those on there, and then it has Force Vengeance.
But you need Force Vengeance, dude.
I know that's why I really want that triple feature because I love Hellbound and I love the Hitman, and I need to get Force Vengeance, so I gotta track that down.
And you've seen Force Vengeance, of course.
Oh right? Yeah.
So you'll notice that when in Chuck Norris movies, a little bit of spoiler territory here, when he's when John Kirby is the bear hug with Charlie.
Yeah.
Same way his friend dies, or his friend gets hurt and eventually dies in Force Vengeance when he's protecting his wife and his sister-in-law.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a weird thing that goes on in Chuck Norris movies. I don't know.
You love the bear hug.
Yeah. Big guys that kind of yeah. But yeah.
All right. So what do we want? My number 7?
Your number 7, yeah.
My number 7 is Invasion USA.
Okay.
Pretty much the stuff you talked about. I guess I just like that cheese and that unbelievability a bit more. I have a lot of fun with this one. It's sort of like, I don't know, it's almost like a Chuck Norris Commando for me. Like Commando is like that Arnold movie that's just like, this shit would never happen, but it's just so fun to watch. Yes. And that's kind of what Invasion USA is for me with Chuck. It's like, you get the Christmas, especially not only the houses getting blown up on Christmas, which is just so more. But it's like there's Christmas music playing. All these houses are decorated for Christmas in this nice neighborhood, and they're getting blown to bits. And you have these people with their little kids running and screaming and crying. And I mean, you have what's his face is the villain in this one is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, Richard Lynch.
Richard Lynch is such a great villain. He looks so psychotic. And you have these houses blowing up on Christmas. You have, the mall scene on Christmas, terrorists trying to take over the mall and Chuck coming and kicking everyone's ass. I mean, it's just, it's a balls to the wall Chuck Norris movie. Like one of those movies you think of Chuck Norris, you kind of think of a movie like Invasion USA. Yeah. Like he's going to come in, kick some ass, blow some shit up. And I like it. Again, Christmas setting is definitely a bonus for me. This is the one I always enjoyed.
That's why you said Commando, the mall scene, right?
Yeah.
Yep. All right, I get it now.
The two go together well for me. Again, this would be like a great double feature.
Double feature, hell yeah. Yep. Yeah, I agree with that.
So yeah, I really like it. It's probably like my favorite like straight up action movie of his. You know what I mean? Because the other movies on this list have different elements of other stuff in there, and this is like a pure like action, like Chuck Norris versus terrorists on Christmas. Like they could call any cop. He even says he's like, call somebody else, and like, no, we want you. It's like you're the man for the job, and it's like reluctant. He's all reluctant. His friend dies, and he's like, okay, I guess it's me. I gotta do it.
And they're in like all these different states, but Chuck Norris beats them all.
Hell yeah!
Like he's a one-man wrecking crew. I love it.
Love it.
Yeah, this movie, it is fun. It's a lot of fun. Yeah.
All right, number 6.
All right, 6 was a tough one. and it probably should have went a little bit higher because of nostalgia for me, but I couldn't see it going any higher than any
Good
of the
Guys
other
Wear Black.
movies. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, yeah. Okay. I love Good Guys Wear Black. I always have. I think it's definitely the most intelligent movie that Chuck Norris has been in.
Yeah.
Maybe not his best acting, although it may, I don't know.
He's not awful in it.
No, he's not awful in it. But this is a really cleverly written film.
Yeah.
And of course, I was telling Joe, it was my very first Chuck Norris movie. Back when we had a CED video disc player, this was the first movie we had, the first Chuck Norris movie we had, and I swear I watched it every day. Not so much anymore, but I can pretty much quote it verbatim.
It's a very satisfying ending, too, in this movie.
Yeah, yeah, very much so. We ended up having, I think, 3. I think I told you.
Yeah.
Go Guys Wear Black, Forced Vengeance.
An Eye for an Eye?
And An Eye for an Eye, yeah, on a CED video disc.
Yeah.
Which I can't even find that one on eBay, which is weird. But yeah, Good Guys Wear Black is a really cool movie. And while it doesn't have some of the a lot of martial arts in it, definitely that scene with him going through the windshield with Min is just incredibly cool. Yeah. So, they even show it in his glasses there on the cover. So, yeah.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, another one with weird noises though. I was telling Joe.
Yeah.
When we were watching, my wife kept asking what were the weird noise was coming from outside, because there's a lot of whistles and weird, odd 70s sort of soundtrack noises. And yeah, Go Guys Wear Black.
Number 6.
His second movie. His second movie, yeah, because Breaker, I believe, was his first. But that's my number 6. What's your number 6, Joe?
My number 6 is Firewalker.
I had a feeling.
Yeah. Like I said, going into this, when we made the list, I was thinking this was going to be like last or maybe second to last, just because of, from what I remembered of it. But I just had so much fun with it this time. I think for me, it really is like the settings too.
Yeah.
You have like these unique settings. I mean, it's like Raiders of the Lost Ark. I mean, it's Chuck Norris and Lou Gossett in a pyramid. It's like Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
And there's some good comedic elements in it, but there's also some fun like adventure. It's more of like an adventure film than it is an action film or a comedy. It's like a Chuck Norris adventure. And something we kept saying while we're watching this is this could have been a franchise.
Yes.
I would have loved to have seen, like this duo in like other locations, like put them in like the Himalayas or something in the snow. Put them, we see them in the pyramids, like we saw them in the desert at the beginning of the film. Then you see them in, inside the pyramids, put them in the snow, put them in Hong Kong, in Tokyo, wherever, you know what I mean? This could have been something they did. They could have made a series of this with all 3 of these characters, the 2 guys and even the girl. And it would have been a lot of fun to see them in these different parts of the world going on these missions and on these adventures. I just had a lot of fun with it. Like I said, I wasn't expecting it to be this high, but I was like, damn, like this is definitely one that has some rewatchability. Yeah. And almost because you want more, not because it doesn't give you enough, but because you can see it extending into a series. So,
and plus, Louis Gossett and Chuck Norris have great chemistry in this movie. Which is weird. This is a canon film, okay? Everybody knows that canon movies are basically low budget. This does not feel low budget, and I think it was low budget, but it definitely doesn't feel it. I was telling that to Joe, with the set pieces and everything that they have in this movie.
Yeah, this
does not feel low budget at all. Yeah, I remember looking it up. It didn't have a big one.
It felt like a big budget canon film, though.
Yep. Yep, definitely.
That's what I'm saying. And the thing is, I like movies that are in pyramids. I mean, you and I watch pyramids, stuff like that. I mean, movies like that are, I like that sort of setting for movies.
Me too.
So it was just cool seeing like that dynamic of the characters inside that sort of setting.
And Billy Bear, who was in 48 Hours, plays the bad guy in this one, and he's pretty good.
And and I was going to say, even that, you have like a menacing villain. Like, despite this being like a comedic adventure movie, the villain is pretty intimidating.
Yeah, he is. And you got Melody Anderson from Flash Gordon.
Yep, exactly.
So, you have just about everything in this film. Oh boy. Number five.
Number five.
An eye for an eye.
Okay.
I was telling Joe that, like we were saying before, Joe said it before, this one borders horror pretty much. It doesn't go over the line like
stays in the shallow
and some of the other ones.
Yeah.
But this does border horror. I mean, you have Christopher Lee as the bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
You have Professor Tanaka in it. The one thing I will say about this movie is I think it's a little too long.
I agree.
They could have cut a little bit out of it, but I still love the movie the way it is. I like his character in it. He basically plays a cop that goes rogue. And yeah, it's a fun movie. But this, like I'll say it again, this MGM DVD is garbage with the transfer. So, pay the extra money, get the Kino Lorber Blu-ray, because I'm assuming it's got to be better than this.
Like I said, the VHS looked pretty good.
Yeah.
So,
and I have that too. I just didn't watch it. I didn't bring it.
I don't know what they did with the DVD, but the tape looked pretty good.
Yeah. I haven't even opened my tape yet, but next time I watch it, I'm definitely going to watch the tape. And I was telling Joe that I used to watch the last 20 minutes of this like all the time because we had this on CED, and the end fight. Oh my God.
Yep. It's
really cool. Your number five.
My number five is Hellbound.
Okay.
Yep. This is one of the true Chuck Norris horror films.
Yep.
Obviously there's, the Silent Rage and Hero and the Terror that people classify as horror. And then there's Hellbound, which is his supernatural horror film, which is interesting because, it's not like a slasher, which we've seen Chuck in multiple occasions, but Hellbound is legitimately a supernatural horror film. It's also a buddy cop movie. I like the dynamic even between those two. Like there's like this goofiness. It's very cheesy, but at the same time, there are like these dark elements, obviously. Like I said, the villain in this one is very much like a witchcraft villain. I was making jokes like it was pretty much Chuck Norris as Will Spanner in this movie. But the best thing of all for me in this movie is that this is Chuck Norris's greatest character name ever. His name is Frank Shatter in Hellbound, and Frank Shatter is one of the most badass names you can think of for a movie.
Yep.
Like I was calling him Frank Shatter in the rest of the films after watching this one because like he is just like that is who he should be in all movies. He should just be Frank Shatter in every movie that he starred in.
They missed an opportunity with Invasion USA. They just called him Hunter in Invasion USA.
Exactly. Like Frank Shatter is such a badass name. But yeah, I do. I love the cheesiness of this. It's a cheesy canon horror film, and I really like that. It's a kind of funny ending with the whole wallet thing and stuff, and the kid taking the wallet, and
yes,
there's some fun moments in this movie. It kind of goes back and forth between like these comedic elements and these straight horror, and then some action in there. So it has a little bit of everything thrown in.
I'm kind of curious. Was this the one that we said was Cannon's last movie?
Cannon's last movie, I thought, was Hellbound, right? Was it Hellbound?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think we were talking about that. I think this was Cannon's last movie, Hellbound. That's a shame, too.
What year was Hellbound?
I'm not sure. It's either Hellbound or The Hitman, I think was it.
Yeah, it's Hellbound. Hellbound was 94, yep.
Okay, yep. Cannon's last movie.
Yeah, so Hellbound was Cannon's last film, yeah.
What a shame. Yeah, this was a fun movie. Force Vengeance is really good too.
Yeah.
I haven't found an individual copy of that yet.
So yeah, Hellbound is my number 5. Yep.
Hellbound is really fun. Number 4. This is where it got a little dicey for me once again. This in the one above it was the one I was explaining to you, Joe, that I had a hard time with.
Me too.
And it, sentimentality ended up winning out, but number 4 for me is The Hero and the Terror.
Okay.
This is also a horror Chuck Norris movie about a serial killer named Simon Moon.
I'm gonna stop you right there because mine is also Hero in the Terror for number 4.
Is it really?
So this one we
number
have the
4?
same. Yeah.
Oh, okay. We got one in common.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna have more in common too in a little bit.
I think so.
But yeah. Simon Moon is the villain of Hero in the Terror, also known as the Terror.
Yeah, he's so vicious.
It's another Chuck Norris slasher film. I mean, he strangles, but so does Chucky. I mean, Charles Lee Ray was a strangler. You know.
I think he used a weapon in this one too, though.
At one point, I think so. For the most part, he's strangling though.
Yeah.
He kind of stalks them and comes up from behind and strangles them. Michael Myers style with Annie Brackett, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's another intimidating killer. I like the whole aspect of the beginning, how, like we said, Chuck really gets lucky in the beginning.
Yeah.
And, he's considered this hero for stopping Simon Moon, but it was sort of like a fluke.
Yeah, it was an accident. Yep.
And
I never looked at it that way when I was younger and I watched this, though, which was really weird. I mean, I remember the fact that something happened to him that caused him to be able to take him in, but I don't know. I just never looked at it as Chuck was lucky because Chuck is Chuck.
Yeah.
But, now watching it, it's more ominous than it seemed to me when I was younger because, he was one of my heroes. So
it makes it creepier because he got lucky the first time. So then when Simon Moon escapes, it's like, now what's going to happen? And like, he keeps telling everybody, no, stop calling me hero. He doesn't like to be called that because, deep down, he knows what really happened. And also it's like, can he be a hero again? Like, how can he get lucky twice? Because, the first time he pretty much would have gotten his ass kicked because Simon Moon exactly. He was getting Simon Moon is a big dude and he can handle Chuck. So it's like, it makes it that much scarier because it's like, okay, now he's out again. And it's like, I can't get lucky twice. So now what?
And you can tell that Chuck Norris is definitely afraid of him.
This, in my number 3, I had going back and forth, trying to figure out where I was going to put it. And the reason why this one dropped to 4 for me instead of 3 is because I also feel it has, not as bad as the Octagon, but it has slight pacing issues at one point in the movie.
Yeah.
Where I feel like they're getting to like the kills, but then it slows down for a bit. And it's like, all right, just come on and get on with the next kill. Get on with the next kill. Get on with the next kill. Yeah. And then it's just a lot of like back and forth, a lot of sort of repetition, like redundancy. Like we get it. Like, let's get on with it now. And that's what holds this one back just a little bit for me. But I do love it. Like I was telling Jason, I have a video rental standee of it, like a tabletop standee from the video rental days of Hero in the Terror. So I have that displayed. Yep. This one's always been like a favorite of mine. But,
mine too.
Even here at number 4, I still consider it a Chuck Norris favorite. But I went into this thing and this would be number 3. But my number 3 movie is one that surprised me like big time when we watched it, which is why Hero in the Terror got knocked down to number 4 this time. So
interesting.
What do you have for number 3?
Oh, just one more little thing on Hero in the Terror or Terror. The Taylor. Hero in the Terror.
Hero in the Taylor, that's a whole different movie.
It has he used to use those jeans that he could kick in because they were like kind of stretchy jeans.
Yeah.
They used to have advertisements for him in the karate magazines and stuff. But another thing, Richard Roundtree is in this. And I really feel if this, like you said, it has a little bit of pacing issues, but he is very underutilized in this film. You could have definitely taken advantage of him being in it a little bit more than you did.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Hero in the Terror.
Still awesome, though. Awesome movie.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, definitely one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Number 3?
Yep.
I'm trying to figure out what your number 3 is. We watched it, didn't we?
We did.
My number 3 is A Force of One.
Okay.
This was Chuck Norris's. This was my first movie for Chuck Norris, not my first CED. That You Guys Wear Black.
I thought this was going to be your number 2.
It was flip flopping with Hero in the Terror.
Yeah.
My number 2, I've got serious love for, even though
it's
got some problems.
Those 20 minutes.
20 minutes, man. that freaking 20 minutes. Hey, Brad, what's up, man?
Hey, Brad.
His beard has a fist. Yeah. A Force of One. I saw this in the theaters. My father took me to see it, and I was kind of hooked from there. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that I find really fascinating about this is it's essentially a cop slasher movie.
Oh yeah, it is.
It could even be considered. I mean, it can't be because it's not Italian and all that, but it kind of has really a giallo sort of feel to it,
and
with the investigation and all.
It's a Christmas cop slasher.
Yes.
This is the most Christmassy of all the Chuck Norris movies too. I mean, the whole movie from beginning to end is Christmas music and decorations and Santa Clauses and blow molds and everything else. It's very Christmassy.
And my father took me to see this. I guess he wanted to see it. I can't remember if I did or not. Like I was 8 years old when I saw this, I guess. And I remember the commercial, seeing him do that back fist when the cocaine went everywhere.
Yeah.
But I thought he was doing that to brick, but it wasn't. Yeah. So
it was a different kind of brick.
Yeah, it was a different kind of brick. But this movie is so cool, and they kind of advertise it as being sort of a horror movie in a way.
I mean, to me, it is. I mean,
it is.
Like
it's a slasher movie.
I did it for the 12 Days of Christmas this year. It's going to be coming up in December.
Yeah.
I mean, it's 12 Days of Christmas horror, in my opinion, because, it is. I mean, it follows that slasher formula.
Yep.
I mean, even from the opening scene, you have people killed in a department store, which is fucking awesome. It's all decorated for Christmas. Department store setting. I mean, that opening, it's like just like any other slasher film with that. You got the opening kill, and then what transpires from there. Like, okay, now we have to find out who this killer is. It's like a whodunit slasher film.
Yep, absolutely. But for some reason, this didn't scare me. Being 8 years old. I don't know what it is about it, but I love this movie. And I'll say to anyone, I'm not sure. I know Kino Lorber did this one too, and believe me, I'm thinking about upgrading eventually. But there is a documentary on here that on this copy right here, and on the original Force of One DVD, I'm pretty sure, called what the hell was it called, Joe? Making a featurette. Oh, damn it. I can't remember what it's called now. It's ICP, and not Insane Clown Posse, Brad. It's International Publication, or no, International Pictures Corporate.
So I think. IPC.
No, ICP. International. I can't remember. No, International Cinema Productions. That's what it is. And they explain that Good Guys, or was it Force of One? Either Force of One or Good Guys Wear Black was the very first movie that they did. And because Chuck Norris did so well in the theaters, they were basically a very small independent cinema company. And it's very interesting to see what happens to them as it goes along down the line. I recommend it for anyone. It's 25 minutes long, the documentary, and it's a lot of fun. You got to watch it, Joe. I think you would really enjoy it.
Yeah, I have to do that.
Yeah, because they also did, I think they did X-Ray and Schizoid.
Makes sense.
I think they did. But anyway, Force of One, love it. It's awesome. Your number 3.
My number 3, and this was, like I said, the most surprising on this list for me, and that's The Hitman.
Oh, okay.
I fucking
already went to that one for some reason.
I fucking loved it.
It's a good movie.
This is so much fun. It is like, again, this is another one of those movies. Like when I think of Chuck Norris, I think of a movie like this. Like, he's got the mullet. He's just kicking ass and taking names.
Yep.
And I love the storyline. Of like, basically, there's gonna be so much spoilers here, guys. But
yeah,
there's an attempt on his life. They think they kill him. He survives. So now he's basically out to stop everybody. Basically, he's basically just pissed off at the world. Yeah. And he's gonna take the whole fucking thing down.
The whole mob. Yeah.
Meanwhile, he has this, this neighbor kid who he's kind of looking out for and teaching how to fight and stuff like that. And that has like the whole heart aspect that Jason mentioned earlier in the movie. But what really got me about this one is the all-out like gore. Like when he kills people in this one, like I mean, he literally shoots people in the legs and their fucking legs blow up. like their legs literally blow the fuck off of them. Like, one guy explodes in midair. I mean, like it's a different kind of. I mean, I can't think of any of the Chuck Norris movies that had gore like that. Like these people are getting blown up, and like not like your typical action movie blown up like Invasion USA. Like they're getting shot and like their heads are exploding, their limbs are getting blown off, their fucking leg goes flying across the room. Like it's holy shit! Like what's going on here? And it's like that kind of like crazy like practical effects that make you laugh, not because they're funny, but because it's like, wow, I wasn't expecting that.
they're very extreme.
Like almost like RoboCop.
Yes.
You know, it's like that RoboCop gore, like when he's getting killed before he becomes RoboCop, when they blow his hand off.
Oh my God.
It's kind of like disturbing, but you're almost like, wow, like you're wowed at the same time from it. That's like what the gore is in this. It's like RoboCop gore in the Hitman. And
it tries to have heart.
It does, because and then in between people getting blown to bits, you have like Chuck teaching this little kid how to fight because this bully's picking on him, and then you get the mullet, and just it's very 90s too. You know, so this is 1991.
Yes,
and
it
this
is.
looks very 90s.
the
While
clothes,
yeah,
I think he was wearing Calvaricis. I think.
Yeah, while Hellbound has the witchcraft villain, the Hitman has like that witchcraft feel, like how the witchcraft movies have like that 90s look to them.
Yeah.
The Hitman had that 90s look. The way his apartment looks, everything just looks very 90s. And yeah, just this one really blew me away. It had been a long time since I had seen this.
Me too.
And this was another one that I was literally thinking. I was thinking either Firewalker or the Hitman would be last place, or at least second to last place between those two. And I mean, here it is at number 3 for me. I really had a fucking blast with it, and pun intended, because that's what this movie's full of blasts. People getting blasted all over the place.
Even when the attempt on his life, I mean, that's kind of gory too.
And again, that's why it kind of has that RoboCop feel too. It's weird, like that, like the disturbing, like holy shit, like why are they doing this? And then it's a really cool story, and then the ending is fucking great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I like laughed out loud at the ending too. Not because it's like funny, but just because it's like, holy shit, that's awesome.
It's satisfying. It's very satisfying.
It is so satisfying.
Yep.
Yeah, the Hitman is great. This is probably the one like I'd be most willing to watch like again like right now. Like I had so much fun with it.
You know, you might be right about that. I probably would too. And it was higher on my list than I thought it was going to be. Like you said, I thought it was probably going to be last or close.
Yeah.
But I had it as number 7. So, you know, it put a pretty big impression on me for not really watching it that many times.
Yeah. So and you know, and I said it to you while we were watching it. I think I was really just in the right mood for it.
Yep.
You know, like for some reason it was just, I was smiling. I was smiling while I was watching it. Like it was just it was just making me smile. It was making me happy. It was just such a fun time. Yeah, so that's the Hitman at number 3 for me.
Okay, all right. My number 2, the best last 20 minutes of any movie ever.
The Coctagon.
The Coctagon, yeah. This movie has spectacularly choreographed and executed. Hell yeah. This one also has the American cinema changed this is the documentary, How American Cinema Changed Hollywood Forever. That's what the documentary is called. It's on here as well. Cool. I don't know if it's on the Code Red Blu-ray, and actually Kino released this. Did you know that, Joe?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, the Octagon. There are so many cheesy things in this movie, but for some reason, I don't hold it against it. I have one problem with this movie, and that's the pacing.
Yeah.
But the last 20 minutes of this movie, it's all worth it because you get some ninja goodness, and Chuck Norris just whoops ass.
The villain, I mean, the villain's so awesome in it. I mean,
yes.
It's such a great villain.
Yes.
And it is cheesy, like the whispers throughout the movie.
Yes.
But it's so fun. I mean, it's still so fun.
It reminds me of Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
It really does. But I've always loved this movie so much. I had it on a tape, of course. You know, videos were so expensive back then. But I used to watch this all the time.
There's another one like An Eye for an Eye too that really heads toward that horror.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It gets really close to being like almost a horror film itself.
I mean, in the beginning, when you're introduced to the terrorist organization, a little bit of spoilers here, but they're ninja who train terrorists to go out and do bad things. Well, they make a pact with you that if you stray from their camp, or if you tell anyone about what they're doing, they won't kill you. They'll kill your entire family. So that's how you're introduced to them in the beginning, is they're actually trying to kill an entire family. And it's pretty damn disturbing and pretty awesome. So until you hear Chuck go, but yeah, I love the Octagon. Always have, always will. I had it much lower, Joe, but I just couldn't go along with it. I couldn't.
Nah, your number 2 should have been my number 2, and that is A Force of One.
Force of One.
I got to talk about your number 2s.
Number 2s.
So, like we just basically talked about with it, you know, for me, it's a Christmas cop slasher film.
Yep.
I love the Christmas feel of it because it's not even like a movie that's set at Christmas. Like it's really Christmassy. I mean, even in
California. Yeah.
Even in California, I mean, everywhere there's decorations everywhere. There's Santa Clauses,
Christmas carols.
There's blow molds in the department store. It's all decorated with Christmas trees. You know, at his gym, it's all decorated with tinsel and garland. There's Christmas decorations everywhere.
Yep.
Jennifer O'Neill's cool. I wish she didn't have like that short hair.
Yeah.
But other than that, I do like her.
Ron O'Neil, Superfly.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yep. You have I like the storyline of Chuck having the adopted son, Charlie.
Yeah.
You have
poor
Charlie Logan in this, and kind of a really sad scene involving Charlie at one point. I don't know, just good. You get some good stuff in this. You got like, being a Rocky fan, I think really helps because like you get to see like in ring, fighting in this one. Yep. So it almost sort of reminiscent, even though it's not boxing, because it's karate. It's reminiscent of Rocky because you're seeing them in the ring, and not all of Chuck's movies have him in the ring. It's more of like action or wherever he is. This is the one you get to see like straight up karate, kickboxing action in the ring, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And it's all a big part of the stories. It all ties in too.
Yeah.
Chuck's training for his big fight. And I'm going to talk about all this in my 12 days review, but just as a little preview here, Chuck's training for his big championship fight, but the police department hire him to train their, narcotics officers in karate. So that way they can defend themselves against this masked killer that's going around killing them. Yeah. You also have Sheriff Brackett from Halloween as a doctor in this movie.
That's right.
So that's pretty cool.
How did I miss that?
Charles Cyphers, he's the doctor.
I think I said Ryan O'Neil, but it's not. It's Ron O'Neil.
Ron O'Neil.
Superfly.
Yeah. So yeah, I love A Force of One. It is not even just my second favorite on this list. It is my second favorite Chuck Norris movie overall.
Yeah.
I love it.
Well, Code of Silence will be pretty tough, but Delta Force, Missing in Action movies, they've never been my favorite except for Missing in Action 2, maybe. Oh. But I mean, we pretty much watched, I think, the cream of the crop. Almost.
I think so too. Yeah.
Force Vengeance could have went on that list, but maybe we'll do another list sometime.
Yeah.
But he never did that in the film. That kind of bothered me a little bit because they kept advertising it in the commercial. He never sat meditating and with the triangle around him.
You didn't watch the deleted scene?
Fuck you, Joe. No, I watched the trailer and it had it like 15 times. But yeah, and I will say, and I'm not going to get into spoilers, but Charlie had a big effect on me when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, the ending of this one reminds me a lot of the ending of Silent Rage.
Yes, or no, and the Octagon.
In the Octagon, but Silent Rage just because of the location of where that final battle takes place.
Yeah.
The only thing missing was a well.
Yeah. Which brings us to
number 1, which for both of us is Silent Rage.
Yeah.
I mean, it is unequivocally number 1 before we even started watching these movies. I mean, we knew Silent Rage was going to be number 1. It is the, quintessential Chuck Norris slasher film.
Yep.
Like we just said, Here in the Terror is a slasher. A Force of One is a slasher. But Silent Rage, nobody is denying that that's a slasher.
Yeah.
Like people, you might have people who argue A Force of One, well, not really. And even Here in the Terror, well, not really. Silent Rage is 100% a slasher film.
Yep.
I mean, it's a hybrid of Halloween and Halloween 2.
Yep.
Mixed with Frankenstein. I mean, it's like a hybrid of those 3 films.
It's so cool that you just said that, because as many times as I watched this movie, I've never gotten that whole Frankenstein thing out of it.
Really?
And I said it to Corinne the other night. I'm like, this has a lot of Frankenstein in it.
It's like a Frankenstein slasher film.
Yep. Absolutely. I guess, because I've seen it so many times. I've probably seen this movie. You've probably seen it as many times as I have.
Yeah, I've seen this more than any other Chuck film.
Me too. Me too. Except for maybe Good Guys Wear Black, but maybe.
Yeah.
But this movie is definitely better. One thing I was telling Joe is that early on in my YouTube channel, when I first made my channel, I went looking for Silent Rage reviews, and people really crap on this movie. They actually show scenes from the film and make fun of it, like the Katie Seagal song where they're frolicking or whatever they're doing. They make fun of that. They say, "Oh, this is so terrible. The dialogue was written by a 2-year-old, and it's stupid. This, that, and the other thing." So here's my question right now to anyone who wants to answer it. Michael Myers was never explained other than the fact that he is just evil. This is actually explained. Why the killer is the way he is.
And it's a logical explanation.
Yes. I think it is.
It is. I mean, that's the thing. This is like, it's not a supernatural slasher. This is science going wrong. It is, again, it's like if Frankenstein's monster became a slasher villain.
Yep.
Only Frankenstein in this movie is a real human being. He's not pieces of other human beings. Like, it's an actual man who, because of doctors messing around with something they shouldn't have been messing around with, and in their defense, as sinister as he was, the doctor, he had good intentions originally, because they could have helped mankind with what he was planning on doing. He just got a little too power hungry with it. And
he started seeing the dollar signs before they were finished.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, and the Nobel Peace Prize and all that kind of crap.
I mean, this is legitimately, like, again, Frankenstein as a slasher film. And if this doesn't remind you of Halloween and Halloween 2, then you're not paying attention, because this is, you can clearly tell they paid homage to Halloween and Halloween 2 in Silent Rage. There's no denying that. You also have some great co-stars in this one. You got Ron Silver as the doctor. He's awesome. You have Tony Kalem, who, anybody who's a Sopranos fan, she plays Big Pussy's wife in The Sopranos. She is the love interest, Chuck Norris love interest in this one. And for those of you who are Sopranos fans and are interested, she's also naked in Silent Rage. So you get to see Big Pussy's wife naked in a slasher film in Silent Rage. You have them. You have Winslow from The Phantom of the Paradise and other De Palma films. He's in it as well. You have
the doctor's famous too, but I can't remember the stuff he's been in. But he's been in a lot of stuff. You
have Stephen First in this one.
Flounder from Animal House.
I love that dynamic, like you were saying while we were watching this. I love the dynamic between him and Chuck.
It's you would think that somebody who's as tough as Chuck Norris would just be pissed off and aggravated with him. You know what I mean?
He's such a good guy.
He is. Guy. Yeah, definitely.
And
definitely
also, for people who are fans of Chuck Norris that are like, what's he like in a slasher film? You get enough of Chuck fighting in this one too. You have a great bar scene where he kicks the shit out of this whole biker gang. And I mean, when I say the whole biker gang, I mean he kicks all of their asses, and it might be one of the best Chuck Norris like fight scenes in a movie, which is funny because it comes in his slasher film.
Yep.
And it's really good. And you have the sleazy slasher stuff too. Like other than Tony Kalin being naked, you have some other biker chicks naked in this one. So you got some random gratuitous nudity kind of sprinkled throughout, which is what you get in other slashers of this time. This was a 1982 slasher film.
Absolutely.
You have the opening credits, which are really cool with the stained glass window. Sort of a sinister, feel. You have a really good score in this one, a good like slasher movie score.
Yep.
In Silent Rage.
Synthesizer based.
Yep. The third act is set at a hospital, like Halloween 2.
Yeah,
it very much reminded me of Halloween 2. Every time I've seen this movie, I always think of Halloween 2. I get vibes from it.
Me too.
Only with better pacing,
I think so too. Yeah.
It's really well paced. You have a high body count, double-digit body count, with one of the scariest slasher movie villains of all time. In my opinion,
that was another thing that people said, that he was ridiculous. I think
absolutely not.
I told Joe this, and I will repeat it. Most horror movies have not scared me. I've had nightmares about this movie. John Kirby scares the shit out of me. Always has. And I think it's because he's a real person.
Yep.
And you can see the facial expressions that you can't see with Michael and Jason and all that kind of stuff. He's just sinister. And you can tell in the Octagon, because he's also in the Octagon.
Yeah.
That you saw the look he gave. Remember that?
Yep.
And then, you can tell. It was like, they really casted this movie well.
Well, like what you pointed out, too, in Silent Rage, when it's almost like he loses control of what he's even doing sometimes. So there's a point in the film when he's just killed somebody else finds the body, and he's looking at them like, why are they reacting this way?
Yeah.
Like he's unsure of like what's even happening, but he just committed the murder.
Yeah.
And
he doesn't know why they're experiencing grief.
Yeah.
It's like it's a fascinating, and he pulls it off so damn well.
Like that human side to him is dead, even though he's still alive.
Yeah.
Again, I don't want anybody to mistake that he's like some kind of zombie, because he's not. But it's like there's a point that happens where it's like the once human side of him is gone, and now he's just this killing machine.
Yeah.
And it's like, how do you stop him? And then also, speaking of creepy, the very final shot in this film is so like disturbing. It's like such a creepy shot. And it's like, wow, like that looks so good.
It does. And I wouldn't watch this alone when I was a kid. I would not.
It is definitely a creepier slasher film.
Yeah. Things just affect people differently. This just had a really weird effect on me. I thought the score was scary. I thought that John Kirby was scary. I thought that understanding what made him the way he was scary. It just seemed plausible rather than Halloween. Yeah.
They open up with something that grips you right away, because the opening credits start with the stained glass window and the sinister music. But then you get into the opening scene with John Kirby, and you can tell something's going on with him. He's trying to call for his doctor. Something's happening to him. He's trying to control it, but then he loses control. Yeah. He grabs the axe, and then he just goes off. And then it's like out of nowhere, and it's like, oh shit, we're in for a wild ride here. Yep. Because it's like, again, it's like how slasher movies should begin with, like these opening kills, and these are scary because he just snaps. Yeah. And it's like even he doesn't know what's happening to him, and he knows it's coming, but he can't stop it.
Yep. Yeah, I love this movie. So damn good.
And you can even compare that to Michael Myers, like that, like Michael Myers just snapping on Halloween and killing his sister. Yeah. Like out of nowhere, it's like John Kirby is like eventually like that, whatever's inside of him takes over, and he becomes that unstoppable killer.
I didn't know there was a different I didn't know there was a different picture on the inside.
Yep. Huh. That's like the old VHS kind of cover.
Yeah, that's the one I have. Columbia Pictures VHS.
Yep.
Yeah, but I watched this movie so many times. I continue to watch it. After Joe and I watched it the other night, because we actually ended with this one because we knew it was going to be our number one. Yeah. Every other movie on the list, I was not sure where it was going to place, but I knew that this was going to be number one, and we figured we would end on a high note. And after we finished it, I'm like, I'm ready to put it on and watch it again.
That's great. It's
just so good. I do think this is still available. I think You may not get it with the slipcover, but I do believe it's still available from Mill Creek.
I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah, I haven't seen it with the slipcover in a while, but I think you can
Right.
get the Blu-ray without the slip.
What I would like to see, I'd like to see another company release this, because this is kind of bare bones, but it looks really good.
It does look good, yeah.
I'd like to see another company release it with the trailers. Maybe they can talk to Chuck Norris about how he felt about the doing, because he's a very religious guy. I read his autobiography. I read some of it. But yeah, he was never a fan of nudity in films, which is kind of weird because a lot of his earlier movies do have it.
Exactly.
But I guess he didn't have the kind of say that he ended up having later on in his career. But yeah. Good movie, definitely worth checking out. Yeah, number 1 with a bullet. They call this an action thriller. What the hell?
Yeah, but you gotta realize too, back in the day, like my Hellraiser VHS says action/horror. Like Hellraiser's not an action film.
No, not even close. Science created him. Now Chuck Norris must destroy him. Yeah. It's so awesome.
It is. It's a great slasher. It was one of my first reviews when I came back to YouTube.
And I think I had been watching your videos anyway, because I had just started my channel when you came back, oddly enough. And I remember watching your video, and I was like, this is like one of my favorite movies of all time. And it literally is probably top 10, maybe even, I don't know if top 5, but maybe it's definitely top 10 of my favorite slashers of all time over the years.
Yeah, me too, I think.
Because I have so much damn fun with it. The body count's amazing. The killer's amazing. You get humor. You get
everything you could want.
Yeah.
This is one
martial
of those
arts. You get everything.
Yeah, I mean, again, you want gratuitous nudity, it's there. You want a fast pace, you got it. You want good score, it's there. You opening credits, the ending, everything you could want in a slasher film is in this movie.
The only thing we didn't get was a damn sequel, and I really wanted one.
And it's set up for one, so it's like it would have been great to get Silent Rage 2, but
well, let me ask you a question, okay? Because I have thought about this for years, and I've looked at because it does a pan shot at the very end where you go down this well, and you can actually see what the well is made of, and exactly how he would be able to climb out of there if he could.
Yep.
Do you think he could get out?
Absolutely.
See, I never thought he could when I was younger. The reason being is because if you look at the pan down, you get bricks. You get brick basically straight down until about maybe 1.5 feet, 2 feet above the water line. That's where you get your concrete and your rocks and all that kind of shit. So he's down there pretty good. For some reason, I never thought he would be able to escape. Now, of course, I do. Which is why I always wanted a sequel. But, I mean, let's be honest. Chuck Norris is probably too old to do that now, but
it would be cool if there was a way to do a sequel if they did it now, where it's like now it's Chuck Norris's family, like his kid or his grandkids or whatever, and it's John Kirby is still fucking alive and kicking because who's gonna kill him? You can't kill the guy. So it's like for a new generation,
Yeah. Well, I mean, I would love it. You would love it, but everyone else seems to hate it. So.
Or even if it's like Chuck Norris's kid and John Kirby's kid, because John Kirby procreates and passes on whatever was done to him.
That would be cool.
Yeah,
that would be cool.
I'd love it.
Yeah, I always wanted a sequel though, and in my opinion, I mean, you had Breaker was basically a start. His end hasn't finished yet, but he's probably not going to do many more.
Yeah.
I do think this was his prime. This was prime time Chuck.
Yeah.
So.
And the way this movie is, it's funny. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's the main character, but there's times when there's periods of the movie where he's not in it for a while.
Yeah.
Because it gets carried by not only like Ron Silver and Tony Kalem, but even like the doctors. You're with the other doctors. I'm saying with Winslow and you're kind of watching them and what's happening with them and John. Then you're watching John on his own. Then you're watching, the girl Tony Kalem on her own, and Ron Silver's character and his own with his wife. So you get to see all these different characters. Even Stephen First's character, you get to see him for a little bit by himself.
Yep.
So it's interesting how the Chuck scenes are sort of spaced out throughout it. Like you always feel like he's there because he's the main character, but there's a lot of the movie he's not really in.
I never actually even looked at it like that before, but yeah, you're right. You're definitely right about that.
It's interesting, yeah.
And the rest of his movies are not like that.
Exactly. It's like all Chuck all the time.
Yeah.
This one is not like that at all.
Yeah, everything has to do with him in the other movies.
Yep.
Yeah, that's an interesting way of looking at it.
Like
I never really looked at it like that.
Like John Kirby is the main character in this one, and Chuck is
basically.
Yeah, Chuck is just like his
his nemesis. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I never really even looked at it like that. That's interesting. Maybe I don't know if that's why I like it so much, but Good Guys Wear Black has him spaced out a little bit too, but nothing like this one.
Yeah.
But yeah, and this was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed this. I'm gonna have to put my Hero and the Terror, I think, up in my horror collection now.
Oh yeah.
Because it wasn't. It was downstairs. But once I found one of them, it was like, there's the other one. There's the other one, and I knew exactly where that multi-pack is with the
President's Men.
Yeah, I know exactly where that is. At least I think I do. But yeah, I might have brought it up here, but I don't think I did, because I do want to watch them eventually. And I even watch Walker, Texas Ranger every now and again.
Oh, yeah. That was a good show.
Yeah. Not too bad. Yeah, I had a lot of fun doing this. I really did. We started strong, but you and I haven't been feeling all that great, so we kind of got moved to the back burner for a little while. But we finished it.
Yeah.
And his movies are longer than the movies that we typically watch.
Exactly.
Yeah. We usually watch, Full Moon, shit. A lot of those are like 80 minutes long.
Well, wait till we get to Tarantino.
Yeah. Yep. But see, I don't mind. I don't
either. I'm just saying
they are how long they are.
But,
yeah.
Yeah, they are long though.
Yeah, they are. Yeah. Ty West too.
Yep. Yeah. I'm looking forward to the new challenge though. I've been thinking about that all day.
Yeah, I have too. I've been like when I looked at the list and everything, I'm like, wait a minute, that's on there? God damn.
Exactly.
And I've seen it before. I've seen the
but especially the other two, the newer ones. I mean, when you look at those, it's like, wow, that's on there now. That's great. There's some good. Should
be interesting. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Don't want to give away too much.
No.
Well, I guess that's it. Number 1 is done.
That's it.
Yeah.
Well, everybody, thank you for joining us for our Norris November live ranking. We hope you
Norris
enjoyed
No
this.
Shade November.
For those of you who come back later and watch it, I thank you for that as well. We do get some rewatches on these, I noticed lately. So
yeah.
Hopefully you guys enjoy these. We try to do them at least once a month.
Try to, yeah. Yeah. Did we do one last month?
I'm pretty sure. I think we did 2 last month. We did we did The Conjuring. We did Paranormal Activity.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
So I think those ended up both being in October.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Damn.
But, we watch movies all the time anyway, so it's like we end up trying to find sort of themes to follow that,
Yeah.
Yeah, Ben, sidekicks.
I like sidekicks. I always did.
Too. Jonathan Brandis.
Yeah, I always like the imaginary sort of aspect of it.
Yep.
So, and plus that one is so freaking hard to find.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll have to look and see it. I think I have the VHS. I think I have it. But yeah, it's been a long time. It's about time for me to rewatch that.
We all know Top Dog would have been number 1.
Top Dog, number 1. 2 different copies of it too. I think I showed them to you, didn't I?
You did,
the same ones.
Yep.
clamshell and the slipcase.
Yep. All right, guys. Well, thank you again. Until next time.
Yep.
See ya.
See you later.